If you're looking to optimize your eBay account for eBay dropshipping so that you make the most amount of money possible, then this video is your exact blueprint. And if your sales have been slow lately on eBay, this is going to help you even more. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 5 key strategies that I use across all of my different eBay accounts, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how to make these changes that help me boost traffic, increase sales, and keep my stores performing at the highest level. And so the first thing I tend to do whenever I have slow sales or I just want to increase my sales from the current levels is I'll run a markdown sale on my account. And this basically just sets a discount on certain items in your store that you choose. eBay typically doesn't show the strike through pricing where like it shows a base amount and then what it's discounted to, but when you run this markdown sale, your items actually appear with this strike through pricing. And this makes your listings way more clickable and ultimately gives your listings a lot more views, which leads to more conversion. Let's get into how you actually do this on your account. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how we actually implement this change onto our account. So what we're going to do is we're going to log into eBay. We're going to go over to where it says marketing right here, and then we're going to scroll down to discounts. So it'll take us to a page like this, and as you can see, I have a ton of different discounts going because I run these markdown sales pretty much all the time because it really gives me a huge boost in sales. And so what we're going to do after we're on this page is we're going to go up to the top right here where it says create discount. And so we'll go ahead and click create discount here, and then as you can see, there's a few options. We have coupon, order discount, sale event, shipping discount, and volume pricing. And now all of these definitely will help boost your visibility and get you more sales, but what I find the most beneficial is running an actual sales event on your account. So we'll click on this right here, and it's going to take us to a page that looks like this. By default, it's going to set it as a percentage off of each item up here, and it's going to set some other things. We don't have to worry about those yet, but what we're going to start with is the percentage we actually want to discount our items. What I typically like to do is I like to do a rate of around 10 to 15%. Both definitely work very well. Obviously, if you do a 15% discount over 10%, you're going to get more sales, but you're going to make less money on each sale. So you kind of have to find that sweet spot for your account. But what I've typically found is that 10% is a pretty good number for this. Okay, so after we've set our discount amount, we're going to go down here to where it has these 2 little check boxes. And we want to keep the top one checked off right now, which says include skipped items when they qualify. This basically means if we add more listings to our account after the sales event, if it's still running, then it's going to include those new items we've listed into our sales event, which we definitely want. So we'll go ahead and keep that top one checked. With this bottom one here, we actually want to deselect, because if we select this, it's basically going to not allow us to change the price of any of our items that are in the sales event, which could be an issue if we run into an item that is kind of overpriced on Amazon and we have to increase our prices on eBay. So we'll keep that deselected. And so moving down to our duration now, and this is where I do it kind of differently than most people. I would say a lot of people tend to do a sales event for like a month straight or maybe a couple weeks straight. But when you do that, there's really no urgency from the buyer, and you're just not going to get as many views as if you did sales events more often. Here's kind of what I like to do. So eBay is going to preset the start date for you to whatever day it is for you. For me, it's December 9th, so that's why it's showing this date here. But what I actually like to do is when I'm going into creating a sales event, I like to set it to a day after the current date. Today's the 9th for me, Tuesday, so I would set it for Wednesday the 10th. And I'm going to keep it at 12 a.m. here. And this means that the sales event is going to start tomorrow at 12 a.m. So the start of the day, which is what we want. And so now that we have our start date ready, we need to figure out an end date. Like, when is this sales event going to actually end? So we don't want it to go forever, because then there's no incentive from the buyer to actually purchase our item at the discount. Going to the end date, what I like to do is I like to run all of my sales events for exactly 3 days. And the reason why I do this is because towards the end of your sales event, eBay tends to push your items higher in search. And if you do a sales event for like a month or even a couple weeks, eBay may be hesitant to kind of move your item up in the search ranking. But if you do a sales discount every few days, eBay is going to be more inclined to actually push your item up in the search results. And also, buyers are more incentivized to purchase your item since the sales event's going to go away quicker. Going by this 3-day rule, we're going to go ahead and select it for December 12th, and then we're going to end it at 11:59. And the reason why we don't end it at 12 a.m. is because that would then be the 13th, so the next day, and that would kind of mess up our next sales event that we're going to do. So just a quick check you can do is make sure that your start date and your end date are exactly 2 days apart here, so the 10th to the 12th. And then on the bottom, it should always be 12 a.m. on the start date time. And then for the end date, it should always be 11:59. That allows us to then make our next sales event the 13th at 12 a.m. so we can continue running these sales events together. And so for the details here, this is our sales event name. We can pretty much do this whatever we want. I'm going to maybe say, December 10th through December 12th here. Okay, and so after we've done this full left side here, that's fully completed, we're going to go over to select items. And this is basically going to determine what items in our store are actually going to fall into this discount. And so normally what I like to do is pretty much have every single item in our discount, because why would we leave any out? We want to maximize our sales. So we might as well put every single item here that is in our store. How we do this is we go to the rule-based section on the right instead of the manual. So we go to the rule-based, and then we go down here to where it says apply filters, and we want to use a price range filter. This is going to allow us to pretty much put items within a certain price range into this discount. So if we want to include all of the items in our store, we can simply go like 1 cent here to, maybe 5,000, because obviously we don't have any items over 5,000 in our store. And so if we click apply, as you can see here, it's going to add all of the items in our store to the sales discount. And so I have 10,760 items that are in my eBay store, and that's how many were applied to this sales event, which is exactly what we want. So we don't have to touch anything with the item condition, and then we'll go ahead and click launch after everything is filled out. As we can see here, this top sales event is scheduled to go out. It will start tomorrow at 12 a.m. and then run for exactly 3 days until December 12th at 11:59. So after we've done the sales event, we want to do the exact same thing to fill up the entire month. We want to run a sales event every 3 days until it fills up every single day of the month. So for me, it's December 10th right now. So I would keep doing this exact same process until I reach the end of December. So just to kind of show you an example, what we can do here is there's actually a quick option. We can click copy here on our previous sales event. This is going to take the exact same settings from the sales event we just did and then apply it to this right here. So it makes it very quick for us. And the only thing we really need to change here is the duration of it. And so since our last sales event ended December 12th at 11:59, we're going to simply start our next sales event December 13th at 12 a.m., exactly 1 minute after our previous sales event ended. And we're going to use the exact same rules as we did before. Since our sales event starting on the 13th, we're going to add 2 days here and go to the 15th and set it for 11:59, which is already preset. And this means our sales event is running for exactly 3 days, which is what we want. And so we're going to click launch here. And then after we do that, we would simply continue onward with this exact same process until our entire month is filled out. And what I normally like to do is do this at the start of every single month. So when it becomes January 1st, I would go back in here and fill up the entire month of January. The second thing I'll do to get more sales onto my account is I'll list items at a lower markup than what I'm currently doing. eBay is a platform that loves activity, and you get rewarded for having good customer service, constantly shipping out orders, and constantly listing items. And if you sell more items, eBay is going to push more momentum onto your account, and it's going to lead to more sales. So the kind of rule to go by is that sales bring other sales. So normally my strategy is to list items with a really high markup. Typically I do, 80 to 100%, which is higher than what people normally do. But if my store is kind of slow, or I just want to get more sales onto my account, what I'll do is I'll list a handful of items at a low markup. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to sell more items, which is going to help my items with a higher markup. It's going to bring me momentum, and it's going to lead to just more sales overall and kind of keep everything flowing. And so when these lower priced items end up selling, because they're a lot more likely to sell than higher priced items, people are buying from you. So they're going to push more traffic your way. And this isn't really a permanent thing where you're just going to go ahead and switch your entire markup on your store and only list lower priced items. It's simply for the short term to kind of bring you more sales and essentially jumpstart your eBay account. Here's how I would kind of go about this. I would do everything kind of the same as I would before in terms of like getting my links, listing the same products as before. I'm just simply doing a lower markup to kind of kickstart my account. And so I'll go over here to my doc, wherever I have my links stored that I want to list. Typically when I'm doing this, it's not going to be a ton of items compared to what I have in my store. Maybe I'm only going to list, 100 to 200 items with a lower markup. So for this example, we'll go ahead and grab 100 items. So after we get 100 links from our spreadsheet, we're going to go ahead and copy them. And then we're going to open up our eBay lister. I use Dropshipping. It's been a great tool for getting a ton of listings up onto my account with very little work. I also use it for my product research as well. So like how I got these links, I use Dropshipping for that, for collecting hot selling products. But what we'll do is we'll open up the eBay lister here, and then for the markup percentage, normally I do 80 to 100%, as I said before. But when I'm in these lower markup spurts where I'm trying to just kind of kickstart my eBay store, I'll probably typically go down to around 40 to 50%. I normally recommend 50%. That's still going to allow you to make some profit, even though it's not really the goal with this. It's more so get more traffic on all of our listings and boost our eBay store. But we'll still do 50%. That'll allow us to make some money still. And so for our promoted ad rate, still do the same thing as before. I like to do 5%. And then we'll go ahead and paste in our links here. And then for the number of links to list, we'll put in 100, since for this example, we're going to do 100 items onto our account. And then what I would do is just simply click start here, and then I can go do something else while this is running. This is totally a hands-off process. It's going to list the items without any manual work at all. Normally what I like to do though is I like to set my links to run before I go to bed. So I'll click that start button right before I go to bed, and then I'll wake up in the morning, and then all of these links will be listed on my account. So the third thing I'll do to maximize the profits on my eBay store is I'll end and relist items that haven't sold. And if you're not familiar with the method I use for eBay dropshipping, it's pretty much a volume approach. So my goal is to get as many listings up onto my account as possible. I don't really care too much about product research. The main goal is to simply bulk list onto the account with the idea that more listings is going to equal more sales. But when this happens, you tend to end up with a lot of items that don't do too well or don't get a lot of views, and then overall just don't sell on your account. And so I kind of consider these dead listings, and it's really hard for these items to sell once they've already been sitting in your account and haven't got much traction. But there is one way to actually deal with this, which is by deleting those items and relisting them onto your account. And the reason why this works is because once you end an item and then relist it, eBay pretty much treats it as a brand new item on your account, which is going to mean more people click on it, and then that leads to more people buying your products. Let's dive into how this actually works. So to actually do this, we're going to go ahead and go to our listings tab on our eBay seller dashboard, and we're going to scroll down here. And then what we have to do is we have to filter our items that we're going to delete by items that haven't sold, and then also the oldest items, because obviously we don't want to take items that have already sold and then delete them and relist them because they're already doing well. So we want to find those items that are already dead, don't have a lot of views, don't have a lot of sales or any sales at all, and also items that were listed a long time ago. And the way we do that is we filter by the start date and then the sold quantity. And this shows up right here for me in my table, but sometimes if you have a newer account, it's not going to immediately show up for you. That's a pretty easy fix. All you're going to do is go to customize table right here, and then you're going to make sure that the start date right here is checked, and then you also want to make sure that the sold quantity is checked right here as well. And then you would just click save, and it would apply these to your table below, and then you're able to filter them. So what we first want to do is we want to go to the start date section and make sure it's filtering by items that have been listed a long time ago and moving towards items that have been listed more recently. And we want to show items that are older and don't have a lot of sales. And to switch that arrow, all we do is simply click that box. And so now it's going to show us older items on our account. And so that's only one part of it though. We now have to filter by items that haven't sold yet, because as you can see here, it's showing us items that are actually doing well and have sold previously, and we don't want to delete those. So what we'll do is we'll do the same thing that we did to start date, and we'll just click it one time. Now it's going to filter by items that have never sold. So as you can see here, as we scroll down, there are no sales on any of these items. So this is perfect. It's the exact setup we want. And now we're ready to actually start deleting items. And so maybe what I would do here is like start with 100 or 200 items. You don't have to delete a ton of items at one time. So all we'll simply do is, like, let's say we'll start with 200 items that we're going to go ahead and delete and relist. Go over here and check this checkbox at the top, and that's going to select all the items in our row. And so after we have that selected, eBay has a bulk tool that's going to allow us to delete all of these items very quickly. So we'll go up here to where it says actions, and then we'll click end listings. And what that's going to do is it's going to delete all of those 200 listings that we just selected. And so we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, so after we end our listings, we're going to go over here on the left and go down to where it says ended items. This is going to show us all the items we've ever ended on our account. And our goal right now is to relist those items that we just ended. And so since we ended those today, which for me it was December 9th, we're going to go ahead and just filter by the end date up here. We want it to show the items that we just ended. So we'll make sure that the end date has a down mark right here, and we simply do that by just clicking that box. And so it's going to show us all of the items that we just ended. As you can see, it's December 9th for every item. What we'll do to relist them is kind of the same process as before. We'll go over here to this check mark box, and that's going to select all 200 items that we just deleted. And so to relist these, we're just going to go up here and click relist. It's going to take a second to process these listings, but we don't have to change anything at all here. To make it simple, we can just click submit at the bottom right here, and that's going to put all of these listings back up onto our account and increase the visibility. And this is super easy. All we have to do is click submit down here in the bottom right, and that's going to put all of these items back up onto our account and hopefully increase the visibility, and maybe some of these items will eventually sell. So it looks like 2 of them had errors, which is not a big deal at all. Still 198 went through, so that's totally fine. We can just click X here if that happens for you. Just click the X, and then we're totally good. And all of those listings, except for 2 of them, are now back up onto our account, and hopefully they're going to be revived. And you can kind of continue this process whenever you want, whenever you have old listings that you want to delete. you can simply do that feature and use the bulk editing tools that eBay has given to us. Now we're on to the fourth thing you can do to your eBay account to maximize sales, and that's going to be increasing your promoted ad rate. Now, I would say promoting your items on eBay is one of the most important things you should be doing for every listing, if not the best thing that's going to lead to more sales on your account. You're genuinely doing yourself a big disservice if you don't promote your items. And so what I do for my promoted ad rate is still above what most people do. I tend to run it at around 4 to 5%. I would say most people do around 2 to 3%. So you're already gaining that edge if you're simply doing 4 to 5% promoted ad rate. But if you're having a period where you're not having a ton of sales, you have a slow period, or if you simply just want to, create an extra boost on your account, then increasing your promoted ad rate is going to be a really beneficial thing you can do. And one key thing to remember is that increasing your ad rate really isn't going to cost you any upfront money, because how promoted ad rates work is that you only pay once your item sells. So like with my typical promoted ad rate of 5%, I'm only paying that when my item sells. So it's still eating into your profit, but not your upfront cost, and it's not creating any risk. Let's get into how I would actually implement this change onto my account. Okay, and so for me, increasing my promoted ad rate really isn't going to be too difficult, because with the tool I use called Dropanion, all you have to do is simply change up one of your settings on the Chrome extension. Kind of to show you how this would work is I would go to my links that I stored, my spreadsheet here, and for this example, let's just say I'm going to list 5 items. So we'll go here and select 5 items from my spreadsheet. And all I would simply do is go to my Chrome extension pop up here called Dropanion. And for my markup, I would typically do 100%. I wouldn't change the markup if you're changing your promoted ad rate. Just keep that at what you typically do, which for me is 100%. And then as you can see here, it's previously saved the 5% as the promoted ad rate, which is what I typically put. If I'm trying to increase my sales, I might bump this up to 7 or 8%. I probably wouldn't go higher than 8%. At that point, you're kind of giving away too much money to eBay, but let's just say we do 8% here. I think 7 to 8% is a good range. So that's like a 2 to 3% increase from what I normally do. Go ahead and paste in the links here that we just copied, those 5 links from my spreadsheet, and then I would put 5 here since we're doing 5 links for the example. And so all I'm going to do is click start, and then like before, it's going to run all of these links, list them onto my account from Amazon while I'm sleeping or doing something else. There's no manual work at all that's required for this step. Now for fix number 5, and this is going to really sound like common sense, and they're going to be like, oh, this is so obvious, but it's really crucial, and it's kind of the backbone of my entire eBay dropshipping business and how I'm able to make so much more money than the average person who's doing eBay dropshipping. And that is by listing a ton of items onto my account. So if I want to boost sales, all I have to do is simply increase the amount of items that I'm listing on my account. Because at the end of the day, more listings means more visibility and more traffic, which is in turn going to lead to more conversions and just overall higher sales on your account. eBay dropshipping nowadays is really just a number game. You can't just list a couple items a day or even 10 to 20 items a day and expect to make a ton of money from this. That's really not how it works. You have to be using software, automating your eBay store, and getting up a ton of listings every single day and staying consistent. And so once again, for me, that whole process of listing a lot of items really isn't too complicated, since the entire process is pretty much automated through a software I use called Dropanion. But I'll walk you through it and how I would typically go about fixing slow sales or just increasing sales overall. And so for me, I try and do around 100 to 150 listings per day on each account that I have. And so all I really do every day is I simply go to my link spreadsheet with all the different products that I haven't listed yet, and I'll copy over 100 to 150 of those links and simply paste them into my eBay lister Chrome extension. And so let's say I normally do like 100 listings on my eBay account every day. Maybe it's a slow season. Typically for me, that's going to be the summer. That's when I get the least amount of sales, although it's still pretty good profit. Maybe I want to go up to 120 links every single day just to kind of give my store that extra boost. So I would go to my spreadsheet and simply grab 120 links instead of 100. And all I would do is I would copy those 120 links, go over to my Dropanion Chrome extension here, and keep all my presets how they normally are. I normally do a 100% markup, although I recommend anywhere from 80 to 100. I've found that 100 is probably the sweet spot, and my promoted ad rate is typically always 5%. And so I would go to my little table here at the bottom and paste in those 120 links, and then it's asking me how many links I want to list, and we would obviously put 120 here, and then all I would do is click start. And like I said before, I just do that before I go to bed, and the listing process is going to run on my computer overnight while I'm asleep. And then I wake up to 120 new listings onto my eBay account. Really not that difficult, and software nowadays can automate the entire listing process. If you're doing manual drop shipping where you actually have to copy over all the information from Amazon onto the eBay listing, if you're doing that in 2025, you're really doing yourself a big disservice, and you're just not going to make as much money as these bigger guys are making. And so my software essentially copies over all of the data from Amazon, makes it look a little bit better. We have an image template that it does. It's going to optimize the title, it's going to optimize the description, fill in all of the necessary details, and then it's going to submit your listing. So as you can see here, it's kind of going through the different item specifics, filling out everything we need. And it's essentially a robot. That's how you can think of it. It's a robot that's on your computer doing this for you instead of you doing it yourself. It's going to paste in the description there, going to fill out the price for us at our 100% markup, do our promoted ad rate, and then it's going to go down and actually list the item onto our account. You don't have to worry about skipping to the next link or anything. After it does one listing, it's going to move on by itself and move on to the next listing in the queue. And it's going to go through until all of the links you put into the lister have been listed onto your eBay account. And so just to kind of recap, when it comes to eBay dropshipping, the sellers who are going to win long term and make the most amount of money are the ones who have their account automated, who are staying consistent and putting up a ton of listings every day. And everything I showed you in this video isn't just a way to fix slow sales, but it's how to actually maximize your eBay account and the things you should be doing regardless of if you have slow sales or not. Every one of these 5 things you should be following if you want to make the most out of your account. And this way, when you do have slow periods, it's really not going to affect your account as much because you have all these 5 things going for you. And if you're a beginner and want help setting up your eBay dropshipping store and kind of learn what software tools you should be using and how to set those up, you can book a one-on-one call with me with the link in my description. It's a Calendly link, and you just sign up for a time that works for you, and we'll hop on an online call. And this call is totally free, no cost required at all. And during the call, I'll show you the exact systems I use on my eBay account and then give you a clear game plan going forward of how you can actually get started and start making money with eBay dropshipping. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave a comment. I'll get to those right away. As always, thank you for watching the video, and be on the lookout for more videos on eBay dropshipping.